Good afternoon, guys. Today is the 4th of July, 2023. Happy Independence Day to those of you here in the States. So today I want to do something a little different. These are American Flying Tumblers. This is one of our purely American breeds. It's not a very well-known breed. It's significantly rare, actually, in most places in the world. Even here on the West Coast, where it was created back in the 1950s, you very, very rarely see them. Anyway, this breed was created back in the 1950s by the late Gus Lichtenwald, or sometimes he is also referred to as Lichtenwald. Gus Lichtenwald, or Lichtenwald, came out of a family of Volga Germans. His parents were immigrants, and I think Gus had immigrated at a fairly young age. And he lived to a fairly ripe old age. He was very well known among roller fanciers. He had been an American roller fancier for a long time, going back into the 1920s. And after the Pensum birds were imported, Gus Lichtenwald got a little frustrated. He was showing pigeons, flying pigeons, and nobody really wanted to pay much attention to the American rovers that were fairly well entrenched in Portland, where he lived. And he got a little upset. And he decided that he wasn't going to breed rovers anymore, but he still wanted to keep along with the general theme of flying tumbler. And he imported some good American rovers, or not imported, but he had shipped in by train some good American rovers from the Dubois brothers of Cleveland, which was a very, very old strain of American rovers at that time. Very, very old strain. Went back probably to the 1890s or 1880s in this country. And he brought those into Portland. They were mostly black badges. And he started crossing them. One of the crosses he made was into English short-faced tumblers. And some genetic research done in more recent years has suggested that there are probably some other European breeds behind them, especially what they used to refer to as buckawinas. Buckawinas were a Hungarian/Romanian tumbler breed, similar to the Oriental roller, and there's quite a story on them. There's none of them left, but supposedly some of them are in the background. Kim LaFlamme, who is a local fancier here, was a longtime friend of Gus's and has kind of become the caretaker of the American Flying Tumbler breed. And Kim has about, 500 in just about every color you could imagine. He's pretty much taken it upon himself to be the as official as it gets caretaker of the breed, and has done a lot to try to promote them. So when Kim and I met, we actually met because I was looking for Rakovniks, and he had a few from Richard Conway. And in the process of getting a lot of Kim's Rakovniks, kind of part of the deal, you get pigeons from Kim, you have to take some AFTs. So I've been working with them for a few years now. I actually had some back in the 90s, but I don't think they were real AFTs. They actually rolled down on me. They were mostly dark checkers. That time a lot of people were showing AFTs in shows. They were mostly black selfs with pearl eyes. Very small pigeons with kind of a tumbler head. Very, very small. Smaller than most rovers. And these two here are out of, these two hens are out of a pair from Kim. They have a pretty fantastic pearl eye. And quite a different beak and head structure from a rover, obviously from the English short-faced background. Both blue check badges. Both of these, I have these in blue badge and black self. Don't have too many other colors. Like I said, Kim has just about every color in the rainbow you can imagine, is working on all kinds of different markings, working on bell necks and magpies and all kinds of stuff that he's gradually worked on. This is a flying breed. Lichtenwald kind of is part of his, not quite a sabbatical you want to call it, but kind of almost saw it as a holy mission, because he was so angry. He actually was one of 3 or 4 fanciers, got kind of blackballed by the Pensum Rover Club. That there's documentation and old correspondence the late Joe Quinn found that came from the Bob Evans archive that showed that Bob Evans had actually went to Frank Holloman of the American Pigeon Journal and specifically had a couple of breeders blocked from publishing any articles, or about the only thing he would run from them were ads, but if they sent an article or photos in, he wouldn't publish them, basically because of the strife between American rover breeders and supporters of the Pensum Rover Club. And Gus Lichtenwald was one of those guys, as was Dubois, who he had gotten his birds from. And Lichtenwald's response, instead of kind of whining about it, got a little bit angry, and he just decided he wasn't going to breed rovers anymore, and he started changing the rovers he started with by crossing them and reselecting them. And this is what he wound up with, was a small flying tumbler with a different head structure, different beak structure, pearl eyes. He wanted fairly decent flight with tight kitting, and he wanted a lot of tumbling, short rolls, flops, short spins. Kind of a very similar theme to the red badge competition tumblers you've seen in the previous videos, where they were bred more for unison performance. I don't know if Lichtenwald really wanted unison performance, but he wanted a lot of activity out of his birds. So that's what he created, and there were a lot of people who criticized him along the way, even close friends of his. I remember the late Paul Bradford, who I knew pretty well down in Utah, saying he never really understood why Gus would, quote, ruin his rovers by doing what he was doing. But needless to say, he stuck with it and created the American Flying Tumbler, or what is sometimes called the Lichtenwald Tumbler, or what Gus sometimes called the Yankee Flying Tumbler is what he called them. They were kind of known by all three names, kind of known as AFTs for short. And kind of here in Oregon, they're kind of our regional breed. I live way down in the south part of the state, but pretty much almost in California when it comes down to it, and we kind of really don't consider ourselves part of Oregon most of the time, but it is still our state breed, and really the only breed we have here in the region that is a created breed, and a lot of people are very proud of it. These guys here are strictly selected for flight. I don't so much care about the clean beak and the markings or anything like that. I'm not quite doing the same thing Kim is. I just want to fly him and work on that. But needless to say, a very, very rare breed of American origin. And we do not have many breeds that we Americans originated. Most pigeon breeds are, of course, they're foreign to us. They were mostly created in Europe or Asia or the Middle East. And this is one of our few that was created here. If you're interested in this breed, like I said, Kim LaFlamme, who lives here not far from me, is a great promoter of this breed, would be more than happy to help people get started in them. If you're interested in American Flying Tumblers and keeping a rare American breed, especially if you feel patriotic today on Independence Day, as you should, drop me a comment with your email, and I will have Kim get in touch with you. Anyway, that is it, guys. All of you have a very happy 4th. If you are not from the States, I guess at least have a happy 4th, and remember why we celebrate it. We celebrate it basically to originally break free of tyrannical government is the reason we did it. And that should be the aspiration of people worldwide, if you ask me, regardless of where you live. Most of us, regardless of where we live, we do not have governments that serve their people. So needless to say, even if you're not from here, be sure to remember why we celebrate it. It's not about, I'm having a barbecue today and cooking some chicken and some lamb and stuff like that, but it's not about that. But needless to say, today I wanted to show a purely American breed that you really don't see every day, that is very rare, that is certainly in need of people who will take care of the breed for the future. See you guys next time. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe. Keep them flying out there, guys.